We are live. We're not starting yet, but you see me. John sees me. Who's all these other guys? Danny. Who else is on this text?
Nobody's on here yet.
Nobody's on here yet. Okay, good.
It starts showing it right here.
Danny, John, a few others.
Somebody's there.
All right, we got one. We need two. Where two or more are gathered. There we go. We can do it. Right, Rob?
Correct.
Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Robin.
Let Bo say hey. Hey, Bo. Look. See him? Okay. All right. Danny
Right.
sees me.
You're good, right?
Yep. I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to go walk the dog, okay?
Yep. We good. Got my phone right here. Yep. Got a haircut. Danny sure did.
Text Oakley if you need anything.
Okay. Who?
Text Oakley's phone if you need
Okay.
anything.
Yes, right. All right, had a little. We're not starting yet. I'm just kind of talking to a few of you guys that are on here. We had a little allergy in this pollen. Went fishing today, running way up the lake on Gunnersville. Did a bunch of running in that wind and air. I come in, running back quick this afternoon. Jump in the shower and my throat's kind of froggy sounding, but I'll be all right here in just a little bit. So there's no fear of corona here, okay? So all the coughing you hear will be allergies, allergy coughing. With my wife, you definitely ain't worried about that. She's the most disinfectant queen of Alabama. You bet on that. Okay, we'll wait a couple more minutes here. I'm gonna just look a few verses I've got here on my phone. My volume sound good to everybody? Thumbs up. Yeah. Have to talk too loud. All right, a couple more minutes, getting a few people on there. We got about 3 minutes. I'm gonna wait till 7, just so we can get everybody tell everybody, and get as many as we can get on here. Let's see, a few people asking me a few questions here. I'm texting them back. Okay. Good deal. Caught a nice smallmouth here on Gunnersville today. For all you guys and girls want to see, show you a little picture there. That's a nice smallmouth for Gunnersville. About close to 4 pounder, 3.5, 4 pounder. Not bad. Bobby Eads, I'm glad you're watching tonight, Bobby. I was hoping you weren't gonna go fishing instead. All right. Is Jimmy Houston on here tonight? Jimmy popped onto my Facebook Live the other night with me and Robin, him and Chris. And at least it said it was them. I didn't know if it really was them. It might have been somebody acting as them. But if they're on there, I love old Jimmy and Chris. It ought to be a lot of people on there. I don't know what else you got to do tonight. We can't go nowhere. We can't go out to eat. We can't go fishing much because it's about to be dark. Tell you, Gunnersville had about 900 boats on it today. I drove all the way way on up the river today and launched me in Oakley, and every boat around my pass was packed. So that's good. Everybody's getting out on the water, getting away. They ain't hurting nothing doing that, so that's a good place to be. All right, we're about to hit 7 o'clock. We got a few people on here. Says we got 43. Let's see. Hang on here. 7 o'clock. All right, we'll get ready to get rolling then, all right? And I'm going to try to not, I've got ADD pretty bad, ADHD for all you guys and girls that know me. And I'm going to try not to be reading the comments while I'm talking because I get easily distracted with all these comments popping up. So here we go. All right, welcome to the Fishers of Men Friday night. Hey, Chris and Jimmy are watching. That's good. And Al Odom's watching. Ronnie Mueller. All right, I got to quit reading now. It's going to get me messed up. Y'all know that. But thank y'all for joining us tonight on the Fishers of Men Friday night Professions of Faith. And I guess that's what it's called anyway. It sounds like a good name for me. But anyway, I'm thankful you guys asked me to be on here tonight. You know, one thing about this whole crazy virus and this whole crisis that's going on in our country right now, it is one cool thing that the good thing that's coming out of it. It is bringing us together electronically a lot more than we ever thought we could. You know, imagine something like this had to happen just 10 years ago. Probably we wouldn't even be able to be doing all the stuff we're doing right now. And amazing, you know, wouldn't be able to be having church, all the churches that live stream, like our churches, Church of the Highlands in Birmingham and all around the state of Alabama, live streaming everything and being able to have the internet, having this Facebook Live, having all this stuff. You know, I was watching Stephen Furtick, Elevation Church, last weekend online. I watch him every weekend a lot, along with our pastor Chris at Highlands, and he said his son asked, reading in the Old Testament, doing a Bible story or whatever, and said, "Dad, why don't the Lord do miracles like he did in the old days in the Bible? Why doesn't he do stuff like when he parted the Red Sea?" Yet we're sitting here, you know, watching each other all around the whole world, watching church, same time, same place, in our own house, on a phone, on a TV screen, on a laptop. You know, the technology in itself is a miracle. And technology didn't come from a man. And, you know, the wisdom God gave men to be able to develop all this technology is why we're able to do the stuff we do tonight. So God still does miracles. It's a miracle right now that we're able to do this. I have no idea how in the world you could do this right here. It's pretty amazing. So I'm thankful tonight, but I know there's a lot going on. So let's take our mind off of that stuff for just a little bit, you know, because that's what we're all hearing and seeing so much of right now. And let's talk about kind of what brought us all together here tonight on the Fishers of Men page. Fishers of Men, I've been, you know, most of you guys that fish this trail for 20 plus years, I've been friends with Al Odom and Bobby and everybody else that's here now, Danny and John, everybody. We've been friends forever, and I've been speaking at events all over the country with Fishers of Men for years. And so it's really cool to watch how it's grown and blossomed, how many, you know, hundreds and thousands of people have come to know Jesus because of fishing, you know, tournaments through Fishers of Men. That's what the whole vision God gave Al back 20-some years ago. And I've been thankful to be a part of it, and I've seen a lot of cool things happen through that. But fishing in itself, you know, go back to the, everybody's got fishing stories. You know, tonight, I think that's what I wanted to tell you. I know I've been praying about, thinking about what to talk about tonight. You know, I could sit here and try to, you know, be a preacher or give you a message through just straight up through a Bible, through the verse or whatever like that. And of course, I'm going to give you some of that here at the end. But I think just looking back in times like this, especially in times of struggle, in times that God is kind of gathering the church together, so to speak, not the church, our church, but the capital C church, and church abroad. You know, the church, this is a time for the church to rise up and the Christians to rise up. All of us that call ourselves Christians, now we get to live that faith that we've been talking about all these years. You know, we get to really firsthand know, you know, not only do we tell everybody that, you know, how real Jesus is, how real the Lord is, and how good he'll provide your needs and take care of you, but when we're finally really put in this position, I know for me and our family, we're so blessed. You know, we don't lack for anything, and we just got so much to be thankful for. But when you get in this position that now things are starting to be taken away, lots of, you know, stuff's changing, we don't know what the future looks like. This is the time the Christians and the capital C church get to rise up. We get to live that faith out in front of everybody that we've been talking about it for years. So now all those people that haven't been, you know, wanting to come to the church or wanting to hear what you had to say, they're starting to listen a lot more. So this is our time to rise up So for us to be able to do that, though, we've got to be bold and be confident in our own faith and know what we live for, and why we live for the Lord, and what we signed up for when we became a Christian. So now we get to live that out. So let me give you a little fishing story. I want to tell you, the Lord, supplies our needs, takes care of us, always, provides for us, even us at the last minute. In fishing, that's this sport that we all partake in, and that I've been blessed to make a living in my whole life. I'm 46 years old now, and it's really all I've ever done is fish or talk about fishing. And, and I haven't won, near as much as Kevin Van Dam or a lot of the guys that are out here now, but I've been blessed to make a good living at it. And the biggest feather in my hat, still right at this point in my career, still has to be the Bassmaster Classic. And being right here at Lake Guntersville, that Bassmaster Classic win in 2014 enabled us to move here and live here where we're at Lake Guntersville now on the lake in Spring Creek. I would have never been able to be here had I not won that classic. So God's hand provision over all these years, and His will, we put our trust in Him, our faith in Him, and we, when we're in God's will, it's His timing that gets us to His rewards. And for 12 years, I made 12 classics before I won that classic in 2014. I just want to tell you that quick little story tonight to encourage you, and it encourages me every time I read it, and every time I think about it and tell about it. And I've told about it 1,000 times. And just an hour ago, I crossed the Spring Creek Bridge coming home, where I won the classic, where the miracle happened on that final day of the classic. And when I crossed that bridge, I thought about telling this story again tonight. I'm praying and asking the Lord, Lord, give me, what do you think I need to talk about? Because I've got so much stuff that I could talk about. We could go for hours, the goodness of God that He's done in our life. But as soon as I crossed that bridge tonight, this afternoon, I looked, there's people fishing on both sides of it. And, I just felt in my spirit, the Lord say that this is your story right here. This is your testimony, this bridge right here. This is your story. So why not tell that story again? Because it's such a miracle, and it was God's provision. And just like now in this hard time that we're all going through in the country, some worse than others, this is the time that we've got to remember and look back, I think, on what God has done for us in the past. We look back on, not just all the stuff in the Bible, but the stuff that's happened in your personal life, or your friend's life, your family's life, and my life. So I'm going to give you an encouraging story, because, even in the simple things of fishing, if God can make a little green bass bite our bait to give Him praise and glory, that He'll be glorified, that we'll have something to sit here and talk about on Facebook Live here tonight. It's just a miracle, just the thought of that. But that day at the Bassmaster Classic, we don't have long enough to tell the whole story, but I'm going to just tell you real quick the good part of it. But that classic was in Birmingham. We lived down there in Springville for 13 years, so I was close to there. King's Home family there, the King's Home charity, they're right there in Birmingham. So I had a lot of pressure going into that classic to try to do well in it, because I wanted to show out and do good there for the kind of the local crowd of everybody that lives in that area where I was at, and the King's Home thing especially, because that was right after we had gotten our boat giveaway going, and it was just starting to gain momentum. I wanted the King's Home to be known, but for people to know who they were. So as I got to that classic, I pre-fished. We had our practice, and if you guys that have heard me tell this story before, we had a weekend prior. We practiced 3 days. The water was frozen over at Spring Creek Bridge. It was solid frozen over with seagulls standing on it 2 weeks before that classic. That's how cold it had been, record cold. And so when I got there, I practiced 3 days. I caught 5 bass in 3 days before that weekend classic. So I was totally stressed and worried that I was scared I was going to zero. And literally, I really was scared that I was going to have to zero and rod into the arena the first day and not catch anything. That's how I really felt going into that classic. And so 3 days was over. We had our 1 day on Wednesday before the media day. I practiced that 1 day. And on that day, I caught like 3 bass. None of them were big, and I caught them right here in the back of Spring Creek. Not on the bridge. Still hadn't caught anything on that bridge or any of the ripraps at all. So we have media day, and all the media all day were asking, me and the local guys from Alabama were all favorites to do well. So I told, I was trying to tell everybody, man, Steve Kennedy and Gerald Swindle, and I was naming all these other true Alabama people, because I came from North Carolina, so I'm not true, Alabamian. So I didn't have a lot of local knowledge here. So I was trying to do everything I could to take the pressure off of me a little bit, because I was scared I wasn't going to catch anything. That's the honest truth. And I get out there Thursday night after it's all over, get to the house on the lake we were renting, got out there in my garage lake, listened to my worship music, trying to get my mind, focused upon what I'm doing, rigging my tackle up. And it was storming to beat the band, thunderstorms, lightning, heavy rain. Luckily I had a little garage, had my boat in, so I was out there working, and it was flooding like crazy, tornado warnings and all that, and I knew everything was changing immediately, so I was confident that something good was going to happen. So the next morning we roll out to the boat ramp, me and Robin, we're crossing over the creeks, and we just see the red mud rolling out of the back of these creeks. And I told Robin, I said, man, I am so excited, because now she said, why are you excited? You've only caught like 3 bass this week. I said, well, I'm excited because I know everything that Van Dam's figured out has gone down the drain today. Because he ain't gonna win now. That's why I was being funny, but I really did say that. And we cross the bridge and we roll out. I said, I feel like I'm gonna figure out something today and catch some fish. So I go out, catch them. I start running rip wraps and bridges in current places, obviously, and catch 40, 50 bass. Have a great day. Had 20 pounds, had no idea. I still didn't think that was great. Come in, I'm in 12th place. So I was still in the story first day, 12th place. Kept myself from being out. So next day I go out, catch them on every riprap, every bridge I went to. Multiple places on the main lake that had current. It was really a good, easy bite for just keepers. And so I catch 18.5 pounds. Last place I stopped, I fished the Spring Creek Bridge 2 times a day. Every day. Never caught one on until that last second day. At the end of the day, I stopped there with the last 10 minutes before I run into the ramp, and I caught 2 little small fish, weren't even keepers. And I thought, now maybe one day there'll be some fish on this bridge, but it's still too cold. So go in, take the pressure off. I made the cut. I'm in 11th place, 18.5 pounds, 9.5 pounds out. No chance really for me to be in contention of winning. So I really had no pressure on me anymore. Now I felt like I was there. I could come in. I could talk about King's Home. We had a big area there that they had gotten us for a whole bus full of them to come in and be right there front and center stage. So it was real cool. So I was excited about getting to be there on the final day. So that morning when the magic happened, we're rolling to the boat ramp, put in. Robin, me and her always say a prayer before I go out. She launches me. She said, just go out there and have fun today. She knew I'd been stressed all week, and, now I didn't have to worry about trying to win anymore. I just had to go out there and fish and have fun. She said, I feel like the Lord's going to bless you today. Just listen to the Holy Spirit, and you're going to have a fun day. And I thought, well, okay, that's good. That sounds good to me. So I go out, get over there, we get ready to take off, and we're running up the lake, and this is the first year, GoPro had just come out, and they were putting GoPros on a lot of the boats, so they put one on my windshield that morning because I was still in the top 12, and I'm running up the lake, and I had all intentions. I had Robin and Laker Oakley, we're going to the bridge up the lake at Mill Creek. That was where I was going to start because I had caught a bunch of fish there prior 2 days. So I'm running there. Eric from Livingston Lures, some of the guys were up there with cameras, going to take some pictures of me fishing. I roll up there, I'm heading that way, and as I'm running, like I said in all the reports, the interviews, an overwhelming urge. That's always been that was kind of the incognito way of saying the Holy Spirit, or saying God spoke to me. We have to be careful how we choose our words, because you don't want people to throw you out the window as being a crazy person or a nut. Then they won't listen to you. So you can't hit them in the head with the Bible if they don't know what's going on. We got to be salt and light. So you got to season your words with salt. And that's kind of what I thought. I've got to, it was an overwhelming urge. We all know it was the Holy Spirit, and it was the most overwhelming feeling I've ever had. And I've had lots of times over the years, Lord's brought me through surgeries and sicknesses and disease. I've been through a lot of stuff in my early years, so I've seen and felt the hand of God personally all my life. So I believe in miracles back then and all the way now. I know God heals and God does things immediately when He wants to do it. So I knew the Holy Spirit's voice when I said, turn around now and go to the Spring Creek Bridge, and I heard that, and immediately I saw like a vision in my mind like a video popping up in my head, and I could see me standing there under that bridge reeling a fish in, and it was such a flash, and a lot of you that are watching, especially other pro fishermen on here listening, Jimmy Houston and whoever else might be on here that fish for a living, you know when you've got the Holy Spirit in you as a Christian, you know what that still small voice is. But that morning, that voice was strong. It was overwhelming. And when I saw that video and that picture, I immediately got overcome with emotion. And you guys that have heard me speak it at various places, you know I'm a crybaby. The Lord will hit me and I'll just start crying. I'm not going to do it tonight, hopefully. But we're, so immediately I question it and I say, God, I know it's the Lord, but I'm like, almost like Saul, when Saul didn't know the Lord, but he still, when he struck him down on the road and blinded him, he said, Lord, why are you persecuting me? Well, he said, who are you, Lord? He knew it was the Lord. Just like I knew when I saw that vision, it was the Lord. I said, Lord, why are you telling me to do this? I already got my wife and boys up here at this other place. Why is this really you, or is this just me thinking this? And immediately he said, again, go there now. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? And at that time I thought, wow, that's so weird. I've never thought that before. I've never really heard that before. Why would I be thinking that if it wasn't God? So I was crying in my mask. I was wearing a save face mask running down the lake 70 miles an hour. And I knew it was God. So I turned the boat. And when I turned, just a rush of just emotion was just flooding me. If my marshal had been able to see me crying, he probably wouldn't know what was going on. And I run back to that bridge, and the whole way there, I've got the little devil on this shoulder and the angel on this shoulder, like in the cartoons, saying, what are you doing? Where are you going? You ain't caught nothing on this bridge in 3 days. You're this other bridge you were going to, they're stacked. You could be catching them. I'm hearing all these voices, and so I roll into that bridge, and right as I'm rolling in there, Aaron Martin's is just shut down. I see him stand up, and I thought, gosh. And he looks and sees me coming. He jumps back down, puts his life jacket on, and he takes off. So he didn't stop to fish. And so I pull under there right in the backwash of the turbulence of his Mercury motor. And I stand up, put the trolling motor down, just like I saw in the vision, and throw right on the first corner of the riprap. First cast, I catch a 3-pounder, swing him in. And I knew right when that happened. I noticed God, something's about to happen. And next cast, I catch another one. Third cast, I catch a 7-pounder. And that was a 7-pound, 3 ounce, the biggest fish I had that day. Well, immediately when I get that one in, I'm fired up. My friend James Castillo from out west, he was here visiting. He was an evangelist preaching in this area, and I told him to call Robin and tell her to come to that bridge. And he stopped and saw me catch fish. So he called them, and I immediately began to just catch them every cast, one after another. And my family shows up, people start showing up, and still at this point, I'm just having the best day of my life. I never had an idea that I was going to win the Classic. I never thought about it. I still never thought about it. And I just kept catching fish and talking to people, having a good time. And now they send a camera guy. He gets in the boat and the marshal leaves. And now I know I must be doing pretty good. And they stop biting my bait. The sun gets high. The current kind of quit. And then I kind of changed baits around, and this was another miracle. Livingston Lures was still a pretty new company, and I hadn't even used this new bait that I'd helped develop, and I had it in the boat, and I felt like this is the time to tie it on and try it, and I did it, and boom, immediately I start back. Third cast, I caught a 5-pounder, and that's when I said he choked the Livingston baby, and I showed it in the camera, and all that good stuff happened all in that one time, and so I caught him, and 12:15 comes, and this is the part I didn't show on TV. At 12:15, I'd caught them all day. It's no telling how many hundreds of pounds, honestly, I'd caught. Lots of people that may be watching tonight may have been standing on the bridge, because a lot of times 100 people standing on the bridge. And I hear that voice at 12:15. I catch a 4.5-pounder, put him on the coil beam, and a 4.5, 5-pounder, and throw one back. And now I've got all 5-pounders and up. And I stand up to cast, and that voice says, go to the back of the creek right now. And I saw a vision again of me being in the back of this creek where I live right now. And but I didn't live here then. And all of a sudden, I'm like, God, is that you, Lord? Because they're biting good right here. I don't know if I should leave right now. I've caught them all day. Why would I leave? And I questioned God again. But I hear him again, and that same voice again, and said, go to the creek now. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? And I never heard that before, so I knew I'm going to trust it. So I tell the camera guy, I say, hey, jump down we're going to run in the back of this creek. He's filming here, and he's like, well, man, I don't fish tournaments. I don't fish, I film golf, but, are you sure you want to do this? You'll be catching fish all day. You're going to leave here? And I'm like, yeah, just sit down. Let's go. So I take off, and all the spectators take off behind me. I pull up, and I get in the back of this creek, and it was so muddy, you could walk on the water. It looked like you could just step out and walk on it. And I'm like, gosh, what I messed up now. What am I doing, man? All these people watching me. I'm going to get back, and then somebody's going to be on that bridge, and all this bad stuff's happening again. But I trusted the Lord because I heard that voice, and I followed it, and I came, and I stood up, threw a bladed jig out there about the third cast. Boom. I catch a 6 1/4 or 6.5 pounder, and I pull him out, and I said, that's what I came back here for, and out to the camera, and I get the ballast beam out, and I throw back probably a 5.5 pounder for a 6.5 pounder, and so cast some more, don't catch any more, and then it's like I had peace. I did what the Lord showed me to do, and He gave me peace that I can go back now to the bridge. So I go back to the bridge the last hour and a half or so, hour and a half, and I catch them, but I never call again. So Robbie Floyd comes, gets in the boat. Had no idea I had a chance to win because we can't, on Bassmaster, you couldn't look at what you don't know what everybody's got. Like on Major League Fishing, thankfully now we can know what everybody else has got. It makes the game so much more fun. And I run in and pull out. They interview me, and I'm thinking, well, this is the best day I've ever had on the water. But been nice if I could have done this 2 days ago. I could have won. So I didn't think nothing about it. And we started driving back to Birmingham, eating my sandwich. And Robin, I said, hey, what's the bass track say now that it's over? What is it showing me? How am I doing? And she said, you really want to know? I said, yeah. She said, well, you've been leading since 7:30 this morning, and you're still showing that you're leading. She said, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I got sick to my stomach. I started crying. I couldn't eat my sandwich. I was like a mess. So we cried all the way back to Birmingham thinking about what if all this amazing miracle today happened because I'm going to win the Classic. But in our sport, as you all know, that fish tournaments, the last guy comes in always breaks your heart. So I try not to let myself get too up thinking I was going to win when I didn't. And then we not win. So you try to guard yourself. So I roll in there to Birmingham. And pretty quickly, they take me in to weigh in. And so now I'm thinking, well, they know something. If they're not going to hold me to the end, apparently I'm not going to win. So I kind of got back down. So we roll in. I weigh in and weigh 29 pounds, 2 ounces. Biggest bag at that time I'd ever weighed in a Bassmaster tournament. And I take the lead, and I get on the hot seat, and all that happened. And so just like before you know it, the roller coaster of emotions up and down, up and down. And here comes, the last 6 guys in, round and round and round. And not just the miracle that I had 29 pounds, but the miracle happened that the other 10 guys ahead of me didn't catch enough, to win. And that was just as much as a miracle for them to not catch them as it was for me to catch them on this lake. So we come down the last one. Paul Mueller, right before that, he had 25 pounds. He needed, on 24 pounds, he needed 25. And then Edwin always has more than you think he has. And this time, he didn't, and boom, I won, and I won by 1 pound, exactly 1 pound, and that's the 1 pound that I ran back here in the creek and called up for, and I still believe that day, if I had 2 choices that day. 2 times the Lord gave me an opportunity to obey or hear His voice and react to it and act to it, and I did the first time, and then the second time, if I had just went on my own again, that just lean not, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. That's that opportunity where sometimes as a pro, we know so much in knowledge, we lean on our knowledge, and we forget sometimes you got to let it go to faith. And that's the whole parallel there that's so hard sometimes as a fisherman, is to trust, and us as Christians in this situation in the world right now, to trust that God's in control. Lean not on our own understanding, but trust in Him. He'll direct your path and make it straight. And so, just like that, I win the biggest tournament of our life, and it all came together, and it was like a dream. I always dreamed that I would win it. The Lord would let me win it one day, but I always pictured it being so much different than it really was. But God did it in such a way that He would have the glory for it. Had it not happened like that, I wouldn't be have a story, a testimony to be telling you guys right now. And for the last 6 years, that story lives on. Everywhere I meet people, at shows, at churches, at events, everywhere, Christian and non-Christian events, and I tell that story. That story is so anointed with the power of God because it was so evident to everybody that saw it that it was no way that it could have been done by a human. It was nothing in my power that could have made that day happen. So God got all the glory for it because he did it in such a magnificent way. And that's the way he does, and he takes care of us. He blesses us. He supplies our needs, and it was such an amazing miracle. And like you say, it's no telling how many people have come to know the Lord, come to know Jesus because of that story. Just hearing that story all over the country, all the places I've been. I mean, I wish I had a count one day when I get to heaven. I'll be able to see the impact that one simple story made, and it's changed our life, but it's changed so many other people's lives as well. So, such a miracle, and so. Tonight, I don't want to keep you too long. I'm not done yet, but I'm going to just give you a few more words of encouragement here. But tonight, let's just put that story in perspective. I know right now, I win in a bass tournament, is probably the last thing on our minds when we got all the other worries of the world. But tonight, I want to encourage you to read Psalm 91. That's a verse. Pastor Chris Hodges, one of the greatest pastors, leaders in the country at Church of the Highlands in Birmingham, is a great pastor and leader, and he, we live streaming and watching them and all that, and that's one of the first things he's been saying is get in Psalm 91 and read Psalm 91. I'm going to read you just a few verses here from it right here, and I encourage you to go in there and look at it and read it. But first, Psalm 91:1, reading the New Living Translation, NLT. That's the fisherman version, I say. Those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. This I declare about the Lord. He alone is my refuge, my place of safety. He is my God, and I trust him. For he will rescue you from every trap and protect you from every deadly disease. He will cover you with his feathers. He will shelter you with his wings. His faithful promises are your armor and protection. It says, and I like this right here, do not be afraid of the terrors of the night, nor the arrow that flies in the day. Do not dread the disease that stalks in darkness. Just like this disease that we're seeing all over the country right now. It says, do not dread the disease that stalks in the darkness, nor the disaster that strikes at midday. Though 1,000 might fall at your side, though 10,000 are dying all around you, these evils will not touch you. Just open your eyes and see how the wicked are punished. If you make the Lord your refuge, if you make the Most High your shelter, no evil will conquer you. It don't say some evil. It says no evil will conquer you. No plague will come near your home. For he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up with their hands, and so you won't even hurt your foot on a stone. You will trample upon lions and cobras. You will crush fierce lions and serpents under your feet. The Lord says, I will rescue those who love me. I will protect those who trust in my name. When they call on me, I will answer. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue and honor them, and I will reward them with long life and give them my salvation. And salvation alone is enough. That's the best thing about this whole situation. We as Christians, we win. If you read the last few chapters in Revelation, you find out in the end of the book, we win. And so, to live is Christ and to die is gain as a Christian. So that's the way we got to look at that more spiritual minded as a Christian. You got to know that. And that's what we got to be, the encouragement to the world around us right now. Like I said at the beginning, the capital C church, that's us. We got to rise up, and it's our time to shine. So right now, just think back to all the times God has blessed you, how he's brought you through bad things, and we're going to get through all this together. None of us know how long it's going to last or how bad it might be before it's over with, but the one verse that I'm going to cling to the rest of all of my life, I always have, is that no matter what happens, that all things work together for good to those that love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. So all things, so everything we're seeing right now, as bad as it all looks, it's all going to work together for my good and your good if you love the Lord and you're called for his purposes and you put him first in your life. So, with that, I know we've gone over 30 minutes. That's longer than they wanted me to go, but you guys know I talk a lot. I can't help it. But before we close here, I want to let me tell you, I'm going to encourage you to look at something. There's a huge prayer movement going on right now that Pastor Chris at our church, at Church of Highlands, helped start with many other thousands of pastors all over the country. If you go to, it is Unite714.com, Unite714.com, which is 2 Chronicles 7:14. It says, if my people are called by my name will humble themselves, turn from their wicked ways, and that the God will he'll hear from heaven, he'll heal our land. And that's what the verse started. That's a united prayer front that's going on every day right now. Set your phone the reminder at 7:14 a.m. Central Time and 7:14 p.m. Central Time, 2 times a day. There's a worldwide prayer going on, just for, even if it's just 30 seconds or 1 minute. If you go on that website and read, there's a prayer every week you can read on there. And when everybody comes together worldwide, there's thousands and thousands of churches all over the world that are joining in at 7:14 in the morning, 7:14 at night, saying a quick prayer. And that united prayer is going to make a huge difference. It's going to change the situation. Now, if we feel like God's going to show up and he's going to do something big in this whole crisis that only he can do, and only he will get the glory for, so everybody will have a chance and everybody will see that God's hand is in this whole deal. So, I encourage you to go on there and pray and do that at 7:14 every morning and every night at Central Time, and just check that website out, unite714.com. So with that, let's close in prayer. I'm gonna give you an opportunity tonight, because every time I speak, that's what it's all about. If you don't know Jesus tonight, and if you're sitting here tonight and you thought you were going to tune in to hear a fishing seminar, I'm sorry I didn't give you one. But I'm going to give you something better than that. I'm going to give you the opportunity to know Jesus, and to know that where your faith, that what you can live and trust in. And when all the stuff's going on around you in the world right now, you don't have to fear. You don't have to fear. God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind, and of love and a sound mind. And that's what I'm going to help give you right now. And all it is a simple heart change tonight. If you don't know Jesus right now, I want to give you the opportunity to pray this quick prayer tonight. If you just say, Jesus, I ask you right now to come into my heart. Forgive me for all my sins. I turn from my wicked ways. I turn back totally to you, Lord. I trust you, Lord. I know that I believe that you died on the cross. You rose again, and you are here to live in my heart the rest of my life. It doesn't matter what you've done or how bad you've been all your life. It doesn't matter. He cast your sin as far as the east is from the west, he said. That's infinity. So tonight you can be forgiven, you can be loved, and you can know Jesus tonight. And when you go to bed tonight, you can sleep without fear and worry of the pestilence that strikes in the dawn, in the dark. You can know Jesus tonight. So if you said that prayer right now, it's no specific way you had to say it. You just got to believe it in your heart that you made that decision tonight, that Jesus died and rose again and forgives you for your sins, and he gives you the opportunity to live with him now. So I encourage you to find a pastor, find somebody, even message here through Fishers of Men, and get some follow-up information, and somebody can give you some information. You can even go to our church's website too, which is churchofthehighlands.com, and watch Pastor Chris's message, read on there. There's plenty of info about how to walk the Christian life after you pray to receive Christ tonight. So I pray that you did that. That's what this whole night's been about. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I love every one of you. I appreciate so much all of you for being on here tonight. It's humbling that anybody would want to listen to me, anything I have to say, but everything I pray the Lord spoke through my heart tonight. And I'm so thankful for his opportunity and his blessings in our life. And I feel like, hey, encourage, go to bed tonight with faith and not fear. Quit watching too much of that negative news. Put that worship on. You can't beat worship music right now. Worship music is huge, y'all. I'm telling you, if you're not a music person, this is a time, turn some Elevation worship on. That's my favorite, my playlist. I got Elevation. I got Bethel music on there. I got our Highlands worship. I've got Hillsong. I got so much good worship. If you keep that in your mind, that's like the Word of God playing in your mind and your heart, and that's going to give you peace and rest. So tonight, that's my last encouragement for you before we close out. But thank all of you for joining us, and I pray this thing will be over soon. We'll get back to fishing some tournaments, and we can get back to the new normal, whatever that's going to be like. But we're going to know that God's in control. We're going to trust him through it. So anyway, thank you guys again. God bless. Love y'all. We'll see you soon.